hello world. And I really mean world. Hi, Sydney in France, and Barb in California, and Laura and Naomi in Houston. I may very well cry at some point during this, just out of sheer joy that we're all together somehow. I love to use yoga as a microcosm of how to deal with the macrocosm of my life. And right now, life is exploding. A lot of the structures that all of us have to help us define how life is and who we are aren't there. So whether it's sports or going to an office, having a job, going to a school, our connection to the arts, even the certainty of if we will be well, who's going to be sick, who's not going to be sick, and when will any of this get settled. So, the way that I've come up to help myself, and maybe you, to resolve this total meltdown of structure and balance is we're going to work with balancing postures. Most of the time in yoga, we work really hard to have our balancing postures be static and perfect. So today we're going to be moving with the balancing postures, and they're going to be really imperfect. And working within that structure of perpetual change, perpetually having to reestablish balance. We're going to figure out where our minds go, how we can work with our mind, what are the things we use to help us get through that. All right, so you know what? I'm going to do something that I call tuning in. This is part of a Kundalini practice that I've done for 20 years, and it just helps me get ready to step into the practice. So anybody who does Ong Namo Gurudev Namo, you can do it with me now. Otherwise, you can just hang out for a second. Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. All right, so for the next several series of movements, we're going to be standing. If you aren't really good with balance, get a chair or set yourself up close to a wall so that you have something to help you balance. And Brian's going to be adjusting the frame as we get ready here. All right, so I'm going to get my chair here. We good? All right, still good. All right. So we're going to do a series of movements, and this is the simplest and easiest one that we're going to start with. Tadasana, mountain pose. You can do it with your feet apart, but today we're going to do it with the legs together. So to come into the pose, go ahead and squeeze the sides of your legs and even your ankles into each other. Also, lift up your toes and the four corners of your feet, feel them hunker down into the ground. And then put your toes back down, but keep them engaged and working. And notice how that helps you keep your legs strong and pulled together. And then think about this part of the belly. I've been practicing this routine for the last couple of days. And one of the things that I noticed is that in any of the balancing postures, as long as I contain this area, drawing it back, it helps me no matter what the pose is. And that makes sense. The Dantian Center has been part of martial arts for thousands of years. go ahead and inhale and reach up, keeping all of that power in the legs, controlling the Dantian center. Take a few breaths here. We're going to shift to chair pose. You can use whatever arm position you like. I like having my fingers behind my head to help me refine the alignment of my body. You could also do cactus arms. You could have your arms straight, or you could have your arms down. Pick whatever works for you. You can do it differently each time. All right, next, as we stand up, we're going to take our right leg into tree pose. So you take the sole of your foot to the side of your leg. And again, you can work with your hands and arms in any position you like. We're going to start over. Foot goes down. Inhale. Into chair pose. You can even use that sense of Dantian here, drawing the entirety of the belly back towards your spine. And now the left leg's going to come into chair pose. If you have challenges with balancing, you can do this entire series with your chair right in front of you. Okay. All right. So now we're going to do that same thing 3 more times to each side, but we're going to do it on one breath in each pose. So you can also add lifting up onto your toes as you inhale. And you really have to squeeze your ankles together to do it. Inhale up. Come into chair pose. Stand up and take the side of the right foot into your leg. Drop the leg down. Inhale and reach up. Maybe come up onto your toes as well. Exhale, come into chair pose. Left side, inhale into tree pose. Exhale down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, chair. Inhale, right tree. Exhale down. All right, I'm going to stop talking. You can move at your own pace. Good. After your hands come down, go ahead and leave them down. Great. So start to notice what your mind does each time that you lose balance. For me, usually the main thing is embarrassment, but there could be all kinds of things. There could be negative judgment, there could be humor, there could be insecurity. All right, so for the next series, again, we'll go through it slowly at first, and then we'll do it repeated in a faster pace. And just like before, you can have your chair right in front of you to do it. So I'll do the first round with the chair here. You're going to take your right knee up to your chest. And you can stay in this position holding onto your knee. You might want to hold on to your toes. It makes it a lot harder. It's typically done with these 2 fingers wrapped around your big toe. And maybe some of you out there will do it with a straight leg. Good. Then the next position is going to be opening the leg out to the side. Now we're going to step the foot that's up in the air, the right foot back behind us in a sort of a sideways lunge. So step your foot back behind you and reach your right arm up to the ceiling. Oh, so you get this great stretch along the whole side of your body. Okay, next we're going to come into eagle pose. Garudasana. So the leg that's back behind you is going to lift up and wrap around. The arm that's up in the air is going to be on the bottom, and you wrap the other arm around. Yikes. Good. Stay here for a few breaths. The arms can be parallel to the floor. You might want to experiment with other positions for them. Release the arms and come down. I'm going to move the chair out of the way. But for anybody who still needs to use the chair, use the chair. All right, so we'll go to the left side this time. Determine which way you want to hold your leg, at the knee, at the toe, or maybe all the way out. So the same things that we did when we were doing just basic standing pose apply here. You want to feel the 4 points of the sole of your feet engaged with the floor, and that the toes are still active. You want to feel like there's a midline point in your body that your legs are drawing towards, and even all the way into your spine that you're drawing towards. Let's open out to the side. Okay, we're going to step back with the left foot. Reach up with the left arm. Get that nice stretch. Okay, now we're going to move into eagle pose. So the left leg and left arm are coming towards each other. Here we go. Good. And then stand. We're going to do it 3 times to each side. So right leg. Another thing that I noticed in the practicing of these series is that oftentimes this sense of rebounding was a great help in finding balance and moving into the posture with stability. So you might bend your knees as you come up to standing, open out to the side. Step the right leg back. Come into Garudasana. Come back to standing. Lift the left leg up in whatever position you're doing it. Open it out to the side. Step back with the left leg. Reach up with the left arm. Eagle pose. Ooh. Come back to standing. Inhale up. Open to the side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, come into eagle. Yikes. And then release to standing. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale as you open it to the side. Inhale, reach to the left side of the body. Exhale into eagle pose. Come back to standing. I think that we did 2 rounds. Let's do one more. Right leg comes up. Open it out to the side. Reach back. Eagle pose. Remember when we were kids and spinning around and getting dizzy and falling down was something that we found fun a lot of times? Maybe we can connect back to that sense of that imbalance can sometimes be fun. Left side. Maybe you want to go with a different variation of the leg this time. And one more eagle pose. Good. And then release out of it. All right, so for the next one, I think probably everybody's going to want to have a chair or a wall to help maintain balance. Okay, thanks, BB. All right, here we go. So these are going to be one-legged balancing poses. We'll bend forward at the waist, and you want your back to be as flat as you can manage it. Both of your hip bones are pointing straight down to the floor, and you can still use that engagement of the low abdomen or the dantian center as your balance point. Take the left leg straight up behind you. Feel like both of your feet are engaged with the floor just as strongly as if you were standing upright. Drop your head down whatever extent you can and lift the left leg up as high as it will go. Come back to flat. You're going to probably shift your weight a little more into your right hand and turn, opening to the side. Legs are still both working, feet are still both working, low belly is drawing in. And even though your legs are apart, it still feels as though there's a center line all the way through your body that everything's squeezing towards. Good. Hand comes back to the chair. Probably most of the weight's going to be in your left hand now, and see to what extent you can turn to the other side. Great. Hand back to the chair. Foot comes to the floor. Come back up. Right side. Fold forward. Go ahead and take the right leg up. Feel the strength as you reach out through the soles of both of your feet. Feel the balance point for your whole body here at the low belly. Go ahead and dive down with the head and raise the leg up, whatever extent it can. Good. Come back up. Shift most of the weight into your left hand and open to the side. Chairs, hand back to the chair, most of the weight in the right hand now, and you're rotating to the other side. Good, hand back down and make your way back upright. Okay, we're just gonna do this one 2 times to each side with the faster pace. All right, here we go. Folding forward, flat back. Oh, lift the left leg up, dip down, come back up, open to the left, turn facing down, open to the right, turn facing down, stand back up. Fold forward, flat back, lift the right leg, dip down, come to flat back, open to the right, face down, most of the weight in your right hand and open to the left, come back down and stand upright. You might even do the Tadasana move that we did before. Left leg. If you want to try in this last round doing it with your fingertips on the floor and see how you do, try that. I hope I didn't knock over the Taj Mahal behind me. Okay, and then turn the other way. Come back down. Stand up. All right, full forward, last side, last time. Right leg. Try folding forward. Okay, and then we're gonna open to the right, maybe. And then open, twisting to the left. Ah. I am doing my best to break the stereotype of the perfect yoga teacher. Inhale, stand back up. Good, okay, one final routine we're gonna do, and Brian will be down on the floor for this one. So if that helps with your framing. If you've got a mat or some padding, you might want it for your knees. Well, you're gonna come onto hands and knees. Walk your hands enough forward to where they're underneath your shoulders. Walk your knees back as far as you can, maintaining your balance. And then think about the Dantian center and draw that in and up. So this will be the starting position unless you want to have the starting position here. And you can, if your legs are out straight, just like when we were doing Tadasana, go ahead and zip the sides of your legs together and keep them drawn in. So we're going to go from here, roll over onto the left side, and be balanced on your left side. Maybe you can try reaching your arm up. Maybe you can try reaching your leg up. If you're doing this from a planky type position, then you'll just be on the side of your feet. Oops. Good, and then come back down. So excuse my back, I'll be turning away from you for this one. So either on your knees or on your toes, roll to the right side, and what usually happens is that the hip drops down. Think about the strength of this midsection and draw it to the center. Maybe you want to raise up. Good. Back to the starting position. Let's do it 2 more times to each side, moving more briskly. All right, roll to the left, open up with the arm, raise up with the leg. Bring those both back down. Return to the plank-like position. Go to the other side. Return to the plank-like position. Go to the left. See what you can do. Come back down. And roll to the right side. And then come down onto your knees and drop your hips back towards your heels. All right, then roll over onto your back, and we'll take a couple of minutes to relax. I feel like the things that were instructive about getting comfortable with falling out of balance is, one, to just get comfortable that we're not going to be in a place of balance maybe for a while in our lives. And also the things that we did biomechanically that are instructive for our mental attitudes. So one, we kept coming back to this, finding the center point, the balance, the strength in the center point of our body, the drawing in of the legs, the grounding down with the feet. I think those are all the principles, the bedrock of who we are becomes apparent. So what our top priorities are in life rise to the surface, and we have to lean into those and keep reminding ourselves of those. All right, so come onto your back. We'll do Shavasana, which is corpse pose. So you want to lay on your back and we're going to do a specific sensation awareness while we're in Shavasana. So here's some cues. In Shavasana, you're supposed to downplay the awareness of your physical body and your senses so that you can be more aware of the sensation of being alive in your body. So make sure anything that might be distracting you or causing you to move is dealt with. It might not be possible if you've got a kid, but get into a position where you can be as still as you possibly can. And now put all of your focus on your feet. Your eyes are closed. You've kind of turned your ears off, except for my voice. You're kind of turning your mind off to the future and the past. And put all of your attention just on your feet and ankles. Can you notice sensations there that let you know that you're alive? How do you know that your feet and ankles are alive? Come up to your calves and your thighs, your knees. You're holding completely still. So if you're still, what are the sensations you can feel that let you know you're alive? One of the constants that we have right now is that we are alive. So let's embrace that. Now shift your focus up to the pelvis, the abdomen. What are the sensations you can feel in this area? Now come up to your chest. This is a great one because you might be able to feel the beating of your own heart. Now put all of your attention on your arms and hands. What are the sensations there that allow you to realize that you're alive? You may experience this like a tingling, a humming, a vibration. You might experience it as a sensation of light. And then finally shift your focus to your head, face, neck, and throat. What are the sensations there? Focusing to the exclusion of everything else. And this next part might be a little tricky if you haven't done it before, but attempt to feel all of your body at the same time. Maybe you'll feel that sense of aliveness amplify when you breathe in. Maybe you'll feel it soften when you exhale. Maybe not. Maybe it's the reverse of that. For a few more breaths, every time that your physical breath, the breathing in happens, feel like the energy in your body is being enhanced. And when you exhale, feel like that energy in your body is being cleansed. Next, we're going to work with our breath. So ideally, you'll either roll to your side or roll along your back and come upright. If you're feeling really fatigued or really stressed, then you can do this laying on your back, and that's fine too. If you're sitting up, make sure that you're sitting in a way that's not squishing your belly or squishing your rib cage. We're going to work with a segmented breath. So it's going to be as though we're going up a stair step. So we're going to break the inhale into 4 equal segments. So it will sound a little bit like this. Let's do it again. Two more times, just like that. If you're not sure if you're doing it right, you can put a hand on your stomach, and your stomach will stay a little bit taut if you're maintaining the breath in with each segment and not letting any seep out. Last time like this. Okay, now we're going to do just the opposite, where we'll do a smooth, steady inhale, and then we'll step the breath out in 4 parts. And again, if you want to have your hand on your belly to remind you not to let any air seep in or out in those pauses in between the segments, you can put your hand there. Smooth, steady inhale. Good. Okay, so now we're going to do both the stepped inhale and the stepped exhale. If you're struggling with breaking it into 4 parts, you can break it into 3. That will be all right. So here we go. All right, pause for a second. Now we're going to introduce keeping the breath in after the inhale, but before we exhale. So the breath is essentially going to be the 4-part inhale. See if you can do for that same number of beats, holding the breath in, 4 beats, and then 4 beats breathing out. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Great, keep going just like that. If it's easy for you to hold the breath in for that 4 count, and you want to go to an 8 count hold on the inhale, you can try that. Make sure you're not straining. If you are, go back to 4. Keep going. You're doing a great job. You can do 2 additional mudras if you like. Press your tongue into the roof of the mouth. Roll your eyes up as though you could look at the spot in between your eyebrows, or even higher if you like. Some of you may have been doing a pranayama practice for many years, and if that's the case, if you want to try and hold the breath in for 12 seconds, for 12 beats, you can try that. But always remembering these practices only work when you move into the next level of complexity because of an ease or an opening rather than a force or a pushing. We're using the breath practice today to remind us of another bedrock of our life. Breath is always there. It's a stable base that we can always come back to. It's one of the most fundamental things that we can meditate on and develop our skills around meditation. And with this practice, we're learning to control our breath, to increase our lung capacity, and to move ourselves towards a more meditative state, calming our entire nervous system. We'll do another round. After you finish the next exhale, just go back to the normal way that you breathe. Pay attention with just as much focus as you did before, but just focus on the natural way that you breathe. All right, good. So the next thing we're going to do will require a light. So just a natural light, regular light bulb that you might have on in your room where you're sitting will be great. We're going to alternate between our hands being placed one over the other at the center of our eyebrows with the eyes closed, and then we're going to open our eyes and look towards that source of light. Close the eyes, the hands return to the forehead, and the chin drops down just a little bit. Inhale, it's like you're opening and expanding. The eyes look up, the head looks up a bit towards that source of light. Exhale. Inhale towards the light. Exhale. Keep going and notice that you'll start to see the light as an after image even when your eyes are closed. And start to work on keeping that focus, keeping that after image for as long as you can after the eyes are closed. We're going to move more quickly so that it's easier to get that sense of the after image being prolonged. When you've got a really strong sense of that light, that spot of after image with the eyes closed, pause. Keep your eyes closed and do your best to continually draw your focus back to the spot of light, refocusing. It's almost like you have to conjure it up over and over when it disappears. When you can no longer see that after image, go ahead and move into opening and closing the eyes and the hands several more times until you have a strong sense of the after image again. Music. And then just keep going at your own pace for several more minutes. Going back to opening and closing the eyes, gazing at the light whenever you've completely lost your after image. Otherwise, with the eyes closed, keep drawing the focus strongly back to that source of light, that internal light within you. And now we're going to do the final practice for today. If your legs are tired of sitting cross-legged, you can sit in a chair. We're not at a yoga studio. So make yourself totally comfortable. Again, sit in a way that your abdomen and your rib cage are really long and tall. We're going to combine 3 different things that we worked with so far. So we're going to work with the sense of that we have an aliveness in our body, and we're going to try and move that aliveness and have a sense of it in a very specific way. We're going to work with that aliveness being associated with a source of light inside of ourselves, and we're going to work with the breath. So all 3 of those things are constants that we have in our life, that are bedrock, that we can perpetually come back to as a source of stability and strength and calm. All right, so we're sitting tall. If you work with chakras and you know where they are and the names of them, you can use that as we're practicing, but you don't have to know that. So our hands are going to be loose, and we'll start with them in our stacked in our lap. This is going to be the beginning position, but we're also going to have all of the air squeezed out. If you work with Uddiyana Bandha, it's like a light Uddiyana Bandha. You'll notice that when you do that, the muscles in the pelvic floor also contract, and you can enhance that by squeezing your urinary tract, kind of like a Kegel exercise. So that's the start position, everything out. And then as you start to inhale, you'll relax the pelvic floor and you'll move your separated loose hands to the level of the belly, feeling like you're pulling energy up through the core of your body. And then you'll draw the breath up to the level of the heart and feel like you're drawing that core of aliveness up to your heart. Then draw the aliveness up to the level of the throat. And then with the breath held in, the hands separate. And you feel the light as a beacon of light radiating from the top of your head. Then to exhale, we simply reverse. The fingers come together at the throat as the energy starts to descend down to the heart, to the navel, to the lap. So what you might notice is this is essentially a 4-part breath with a hold, a 4-part exhale. We're not going to have those pauses between the breath. The breath will essentially be smooth, but you can count out the beats of the breath as we move through it. So here we go. Inhale, drawing energy up to the navel, to the heart, to the throat. Allow it to radiate like a bright light at the top of your head, holding the breath in. And then as you exhale, draw the energy to the throat, down to the heart, and down to the belly. And then rest in the hands in the lap as you squeeze all the air out, lift up on the pelvic floor. Inhale, navel, heart, throat. Let the light radiate out as you hold the breath in. As you start to exhale, energy comes to the throat, to the heart, to the belly. As all the air is squeezed out, the hands come to the lap and you squeeze the muscles of the pelvic floor. Inhale, belly, heart, throat. Radiate light. Feel as though you are a source of peace and calm and ease for all of those that you encounter. As you exhale, work your way back down. Remember, as the hands come to the lap, squeeze the navel in, draw up on the muscles of the pelvic floor, and then release those as the breath comes back in. when you're at the top of your inhale, your chin is slightly raised and your eyes can, even though they're closed, roll up as though you're trying to look through the top of your head. After you finish the next exhale, relax out of the practice. Still focusing inwardly with that sense of you being a source of peace, calm, and ease, not only for yourself, but for all of those that you encounter and influence. Finding those constants of your breath, of the fact that you're alive, of that light and energy that's inside of you. The bedrock of your principles and values. The goodness that is innate in who you are. We can keep coming back to those as we feel the instability and uncertainty of our lives and those around us. Let's stay strong, and we'll bring our hands together, kind of like you were going to say a prayer. And we're going to chant Sat Nam one time. Let's bow to that light that's in all of us. Sat Nam. See you again soon. Bye. Clear? Oh.